Okay, so basically, I bought this lot of iPhones for $820. It consists of 8 iPhones with varying degrees of issues ranging from iCloud locks and cosmetic damage. The listing I bought these from only had 2 images showing the front and backs of the phones, and a brief description of each phone's individual problem according to the seller. So I didn't have much to go off of and took a risk purchasing this listing. But these issues are all the seller could see on the surface. They only tested them in their current states and didn't really dive any deeper into figuring out the problem with each iPhone. So that's what I set out to do. The lot consists of 5 14 series iPhones, 3 Pro Maxes, 1 regular Pro, and a base 14. Along with that are 2 second-gen iPhone SEs and an iPhone 11. Starting off, we have the iPhone SEs, and when opening the first one, we are greeted with a sticker stating recovery mode and no SIM tray. But overall, it appears to be in good condition. Similarly, the second SE has a few stickers on it stating the seller's claimed status of the device, this time stating the touchscreen is faulty. Next out of the box is the white iPhone 11. It has definitely seen better days, with it now heavily scratched and cracked on both the front and back glass. And somehow the SIM card tray is damaged. This iPhone follows the theme of stickers, with this time stating line 2. I'm not sure what it means, but maybe it's the seller's system of keeping track of their parts and repair phones? I don't know. Next up is the purple iPhone 14 Pro, which was apparently received by the seller from Port Allen on August 29th this year. The sticker this time also reads line 5 and DOA, which means dead on arrival. And I would believe it. This thing looks like someone dropped a transmission on it. It is bent, the rear glass and camera lenses are destroyed, what looks like intentionally, but the screen somehow looks great. Hopefully we can salvage it if we can't get any life out of this phone. Our 5th iPhone is the blue 14. From the back, it looks like it's in mint condition, but once you flip it around, you see a different story. The screen is cracked and it looks almost like the frame was drilled through near the bottom right corner. Other than that though, there's nothing really much different here. It says it's iCloud locked, we'll find out in the future, but yeah. Lastly, we have the 3 14 Pro Maxes. The space black and gold ones follow the common theme of a cracked front and back, except the deep purple one. Out of all the iPhones in this lot, this one is in the greatest cosmetic condition, with its only noticeable flaw being some deeper scratches on the screen and a scratch on the telephoto lens that nearly cuts into the camera's view. Unfortunately though, according to the seller, this iPhone came to them dead on arrival, but I have a feeling we might be able to change that. With all of the devices finally laid out, we can stare at them in disappointment of my reckless spending habits. What would you have paid for this lot given the little info we have about the devices? I believe I can turn a profit by properly diagnosing them and selling them all individually. And the first step to doing that is to start running some basic diagnostics. The first thing I wanted to do is just see if any of the iPhones would turn on straight out of the box. That didn't work for any of them, so I pulled out all the chargers I had that could reach over to my makeshift filming setup and started plugging them in. While I was doing so, I noticed something strange in the selfie camera of the purple 14 Pro Max. It looks like signs of water damage, which would explain why the seller deemed it DOA. We'll have to open it up later though to take a closer look. Moving on, I spent about 20 minutes moving chargers between the iPhones to get them all charged up. I started noticing more interesting quirks about these phones during that process. Holding the 2 SEs next to each other, I could see that one has a replaced screen based off how much more visible it was compared to the other. The 14 Pros that managed to turn on have completely destroyed screens that you could see the gap in the dynamic island. I thought that was kind of amusing. Anyways, as the iPhone started to turn on, it became very clear to me why they all arrived completely dead. Most of them don't have a functional touchscreen for me to turn them off once they're on. The base 14 can slightly display the iCloud lock screen, but I can't interact with it. The 2 purple 14 Pro models are completely dead, and those 2 other 14 Pro Maxes I mentioned earlier can't display anything. And one of those SEs looks fine, but the touchscreen doesn't work. The only iPhones I could actually use were the other iPhone SE and the 11. It started to seem like I may have bit off more than I can chew. Without functional screens, it is going to be difficult to diagnose and get any info off these devices. And I don't have any spare parts laying around to help me with that. However, from the moment I saw this listing, I've had my eyes set out on those 3 14 Pro Maxes. My hope is that the screen from the purple one is okay so that I can take it off to use on the other 2 for further diagnostics. However, it's possible that screen is broken as well given the gold 14 Pro Max doesn't have cracked glass, yet the screen is totally dead. We will just have to open them up and see. But I'm going to save those for later and focus on the iPhone SEs first. I decided I would tackle the faulty digitizer problem since I had 2 of them and I knew for a fact that the touchscreen worked on the other. I figured I would try and swap the screens between the phones to see if the problem was with the screen itself or some other issue. I can't turn this off. Actually,
I could, but I don't want to.
So I took the heat gun to them and started prying the screens off. Actually, I didn't even need a heat gun for the one that does have a working touch screen because it was never properly sealed when it was replaced. That's the one that I noticed that looks like it doesn't have an original OEM Apple screen. There's missing a screw. That's cute. These are all Phillips head. Moving on to the second one, this one I actually had to use the heat gun on. This screen came off just like the last one, except this time I came across a different problem where one of the screws on the bottom were stripped.
Why is this stripped? Fuck you, bro.
That didn't exactly inspire confidence for me. Once the screens were off, I swapped them between each other, plugged everything back in, and turned them on. And here's what I discovered.
Dude, why can't I use the home button at all?
I'm referencing how the home button is paired to its iPhone and is completely disabled when swapped.
Oh shit. The touchscreen on this phone just like literally doesn't work at all. Oh, the phone just like shut off without my permission.
Bruh.
Oh, dude. The touchscreen on this phone just doesn't work at all. It's not even the screen's fault. That's not good. How does it even happen?
After discovering the touchscreen still doesn't work when swapping the screens, I took a closer look and compared the internal layouts to each other.
Is this an iPhone SE? Or an, oh, they're different. The charging port color is different. Quirky. Okay, so let's really test this. Let's plug this screen into this one. If the touchscreen works, then it's definitely the motherboard's problem. Bruh. And the screen works.
Now I'm checking the model number to see if these are actually the same iPhone models. Apple has this laser engraved in the SIM card tray slot.
2275. These are both the same model number, they're the same phone. Why do they have different charging port colors?
Now at this point, all I really care about is getting the serial number and IMEI info from this phone, because it tells me a lot more information, like if it's SIM locked, if Find My iPhone is on, what carrier it has, and if it's still under warranty, etc. So I tried to connect it to my computer, but in order to fully connect, I have to trust it, and I can't do that because the touchscreen doesn't work. Why does Apple have to make it so difficult? Like, why couldn't they just write this info on the SIM card tray slot and not the lost SIM card tray? Usually the IMEI number is engraved on the SIM card tray, but it seems like in this iPhone it has been replaced.
What the fuck? This doesn't have the IMEI number on it.
But then I discovered something interesting.
It's so stupid. What the fuck? It says remanufactured by Azurian at the bottom. That is not normal. Well, that explains why the charging port's the wrong color, and probably why the screen doesn't work. I wish I brought my freaking adapter bag, because I think I might be able to connect a shitty keyboard to it and use the enter key to select things.
And with the power of editing, I did. However, that didn't help me at all. The only thing I managed to accomplish was somehow open the Photos app widget and see a picture of the previous owner's baby. It was at this point though that I remembered I could get the serial number of the device by putting it into restore mode and connecting it to iTunes on my laptop. All you have to do is, while the iPhone is connected to a computer, press the volume up button, then the down button, followed by holding the power button until the iPhone restarts and boots to the restore screen. Okay, so there's our serial number. Now I can plug this into a website that checks the serial number and reports back relevant information related to the iPhone. For our case though, it didn't provide us with anything useful. Unfortunately, this method doesn't also give me the IMEI number, which would tell me the info I actually want to know, mainly if it's iCloud locked or not. At this point, you might be thinking, bruh, just restore the iPhone and see if it brings up the iPhone lock to owner screen. Then you will know. I understand that, but I don't want to make the iPhone completely unusable if I don't have to, because once I restore it and if it is iCloud locked, it's totally useless, even though it already kinda is with its screen problem. However, I did do this with the other more functional SE that has a passcode on it. I figured there's nothing to lose since it's already locked. And guess what? When it booted up, it showed no sign of being iCloud locked. This was way too good to be true, so before I even tried to set it up, I plugged the IMEI number into that same website I used before to find out. While I was entering in the numbers though, it decided to randomly restart on me. This is starting to become a recurring issue with both SEs I've noticed, but anyways, I finally entered in all the numbers and to my amazement,
Find My iPhone's off on this one.
this is great news, as that this makes it worth way more and will help aid in my goal to return a profit on this lot. And that's when I decided to call it for the SEs. I didn't do anything anything further with the broken touch one because that's a board level issue that I have absolutely no idea how to fix. And you already saw what I did with the other one just now, so. But also, I have no idea how to fix or what is even causing the random restarts with them, which is unfortunate because I will still have to sell the unlocked one as for parts because of this. But finding out it has Find My iPhone off still increases its value greatly, at least. But yeah, I have them listed on eBay now, and now I'm just waiting for them to sell as of recording this. I'll update the description with info on how much they sold for so you can see if I was able to return a profit or not. But now let's move on to the iPhone 14. I recorded what I did with this iPhone in real time, but for context, I didn't actually do anything with it since I already knew it was iCloud locked and I didn't have a functional screen for me to find out any other information. But then I discovered a useful tool to help me find its IMEI number. And here's what I found out. Okay, so I just learned about this tool called 3U Tools, and basically, when I plug a phone into my computer, it's able to actually read all the information about this phone, even though it's iCloud locked. So I have it plugged in right now and I'll show you, look. You can see, it shows the IMEI number, it shows the serial number, it shows a bunch of information about it, even though it's iCloud locked. You might be thinking like, you're a dumbass. You can just get it off the phone. Well, guess what, silly goose? The screen doesn't work, and the eye icon I pressed right here to make all the information show, it's in the most broken part. And guess what Apple decided to do? They got rid of the SIM tray, and it used to be written on the SIM tray for the IMEI number. And then you might also be asking, why do you even want the IMEI number? Well, you see, I already started typing it in and I was like, wait, maybe I should record this just in case. Because I have no idea actually what's wrong with this phone. I received it, I turned it on, it says it's iPhone locked to owner, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna sell it then. Just to add a little more context in case you didn't know, the reason why I still wanna check with its IMEI number if it's iCloud locked is because the phone might say it's iCloud locked on the surface, but that's just what it was last reported as. So it has no idea what it is now, and it needs internet to actually figure out and connect to Apple servers if it is still iCloud locked. And given that the screen on this phone doesn't work, I can't connect to internet, so we can figure out this way. But now that I've learned about this tool, I'm gonna see if I can get some more value out of it. So let's type in the rest of this number here. 29141. Like if it's not iCloud locked, I'm gonna keep it and fix it and then sell it, because that'll make it worth so much more. Aww. See, Find My iPhone is on. Unfortunate. Oh well. Oh, now we know more about it. It's a 128 gigabyte model. It usually tells you what carrier. Oh, it's AT&T. All of these phones have been from AT&T. And it still has a warranty too. All right, well, we tried. But now we know a little bit more. And I can actually put this image in my eBay listing so people know. Huh? So that's the story of this phone. I didn't do anything to it. It's iCloud locked. There's nothing I can do. I'm just gonna sell it off individually and hopefully make some money from it. So now on to these two phones. The purple 14 Pro and the white iPhone 11. So basically, this phone, it's fucked. It does not work at all. Yeah, so I opened this phone, I took out the motherboard, and I'll put up the footage right here. You can see the motherboard, it's quite kinked. And usually when that happens, the entire phone is dead. So I don't think there's much more I could do with this one. I could buy a replacement motherboard at least to test all the other features, but I'm kind of lazy and don't want to do that. That's a lot of work. So this phone is kind of done for now. I'm gonna hold on to this phone though, because in the future I definitely do want to at least like buy an iCloud locked motherboard or something to test all of its features, because this screen, this is probably a good screen, but I have no way of knowing and I don't want to sell it without knowing. Maybe I'll make a video updating you guys on it, we'll see. Or at least for this video, it's gonna take way too long for me to figure out, and I do not have the time with school and whatnot. So that's that phone. Now on to the 11. This phone, and I forgot to charge it, hold on.
7 hours later.
Okay, so now that this phone is charged, you can see, like I said before, it works. However, it has an Apple ID on it, but the person never put a password on it. Go to settings and figure out more information, but I cannot sign out of it because I don't have their password. But you know what? I did some investigating. You know what the stupid thing is here? Because they didn't put a password on their phone, I'm actually able to get into like everything that requires you to log in with the password first to see it. You know how you can save passwords on your phone? Well, I can see all of his without having to like type in the password. So here's that. Yeah, so that's a big security risk for any of you that don't have a password on your phone. You probably should put a password on your phone. It does have a few problems. It does the same thing as the SEs where it randomly restarts. When I plug it into 3U Tools, it actually says it has like 347 or something crash reports. And then also,
The buttons on this side do not work. Vibration motor, up, down, volume, just do not work. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with it. I might just sell it as it is because there's really not much salvageable from this. The screen is bad, the housing is bad, motherboard's bad. Really nothing good from this one. In case you guys were curious, I did do a little bit more investigating. I found out the person that owned this phone was a 6th grader in middle school, and he's really into shoes and watches a lot of fucking porn, so that's awesome. But yeah, that's the story of this phone. I don't know, I probably should clean my hands now after touching it, I just realized. This phone, no good, no good.
Now I was gonna move on to the 14 Pro Maxes, but however, after looking at the footage, it could be a whole video on its own, and this video is already getting pretty long. I think it's like 14 or 16 minutes now. So I'm just gonna end it here, and I'm gonna make a separate video about the 14 Pro Maxes. It's gonna be a good one though. I may or may not be filming this outro on one of them. So gives you a little hint of what to expect in the next video. But I just want to update you guys on a few more things. I have sold a few of the iPhones. Actually, the only ones that I have sold are the 14 Pro Maxes. I sold the gold one and the space black one for around $200 each, which brings me to around negative $629 now for this whole listing. I originally paid $820, and I bought a few things for one of the other phones. That's like $288.90. You could go and figure out what that cost is if you want. If I can sell the rest of the devices, this lot is gonna be actually really cheap. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna end it here. Expect another video out from me in the next 5 months or so about the 14 Pro Maxes. I know it takes me forever to upload videos. It is what it is. If you haven't noticed around me, I am on Christmas break right now, and I am in a different room. My mommy, she moved. I'm gonna make a video about that too, about packing up my old room and whatnot and unpacking this one. We'll see if that comes out in maybe 3 or so years. I think that's a pretty reasonable time frame. But yeah, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was really long and kind of boring, but it's what I enjoy doing. So if you don't like it, that sucks. Why'd you even watch it? See you in the next one.